Welcome once again to Abington, Massachusetts and Orphan Car Garage. This is our YouTube page, which I suggest you subscribe to. We always have fun, cool things to look at and to describe, and this car is no different. This is a bargain, folks. This is a 1963 Rambler American 440 convertible. No, it's not one of those cars that goes in the water. Everybody seems to think this is an Amphicar when they see it. This is a Rambler. Rambler was a division of American Motors. American Motors was devised from a merger between Hudson and Nash in the mid-1950s. George Romney, who went on to become the governor of Michigan after running American Motors, saw a need for economy cars in America, a second family car, I would say. And Nash had the Rambler line when they did the merger to become American Motors, and George Romney really took off with the Rambler mark and really capitalized on it, and it worked out really well for American Motors. They sold a lot of these little cars. They were very reliable. They had a large following. When they were new, people bought them over and over again. They had a great little reputation, and they still do. You just don't see a whole lot of them anymore, because a lot of them, unfortunately, became very inexpensive used cars in the 60s and 70s and kind of got used up and thrown away. Here we have a rarely seen convertible. This is a body style that lasted for the American from 1961 to 1963. This being the last final year, the 1963, before the redesign in 64. And American Motors did a nice job with this design. I always liked it. It was a low price convertible. I think it was the lowest price convertible you could buy in America at the time, yet they didn't sell a lot of them. Excuse me. This car is not exactly what we normally sell here at Orphan Car Garage. And I say that because this car needs the next owner to be familiar with a toolbox, not afraid to turn a wrench and do a little bit of work. We saved this car from somewhat of a hoarding situation not too far from here. And I felt that this car deserved a second chance on life. We rescued it, so to speak, brought it up to another level. Car is very drivable, very turnkey, looks decent now. It didn't when we got it, but that's neither here nor there. This is where we're at now. But I've gone as far as I'm going to go with it, and the next owner can bring it to the next level. Again, the car is turnkey. It runs very well, shifts into gear well, stops well, but it really could use some tinkering and a little bit of love. And I'm going to assume that as someone, excuse me, someone starts driving it more regularly, they're going to need to do some work here and there. The clutch is a little high and things like that. So I'm not holding back with this. I need people to understand that this is a car that needs to be bought by somebody that is familiar with the mechanics of an automobile. And I'm going to insist that the next owner is. So this is what I would definitely call a 10-footer. I'm about 10 feet away from the car, and it looks pretty good. This is an original color. I think it's a repaint, but it's original color of a dark Cordovan with that really cool white stripe down the side. That's all factory. The car has brand new or very recent Coker Classic bias ply tires on it. Those tires alone probably set the owner back about $1,200. So just keep that in mind as we go around. There's not a whole lot of rust on this car. The undercarriage is very solid. It has a very solid X-frame underneath it, which I believe all the convertibles did. Scaling on it, but no rust or rot through it all. The floors are good. I don't think the car has ever really been subjected to too much New England weather. There is some bubbling on the bottom of the doors, both front doors. The front portion of each door front and rear portion of each door has a little bit of bubbling. I'll show you the other side as we go around. Quarter panels are very clean. Very clean. I was actually very impressed with the lack of corrosion on this car. These cars were known to corrode. The construction of them didn't bode well with New England winters. So I'm thinking this car probably didn't see a whole lot of New England winter. I don't know where the car originated from. I wish I did. I don't have a whole lot of history on it. Wouldn't surprise me if the car wasn't from New England originally. Here's the other side. Quarter panels are very clean. Again, a little bit of bubbling at the bottom of the doors. Nothing crazy. I've seen much, much worse. This side's actually a little better than the driver's side. It's just that the lighting isn't so good over here. We'll go to the interior. This has a bucket seat interior. Original. Really cool color combination. This car must have been striking when it was new. Console and that funky Rambler twin stick shift. If you don't know much about the Rambler twin stick, I suggest you Google it. There's some really great information online about it. It's basically a 3-speed manual transmission with an overdrive option in both the second and the third gear, which essentially gives you a 5-speed transmission. Really cool feature. Definitely not something you want to be doing or driving if you're not too familiar with it after a few drinks. Not that I did that, I just can only imagine. Somebody did add some really cool gauges under the radio. Those are not original to the Rambler. I almost removed them, but they're so nicely installed, so professionally installed, and rather vintage. I decided to leave them and let the next owner decide what they'd like to do. Here's the gauges, the two-tone dashboard. The car has an optional electric clock. It doesn't work currently, but it has it, and that's a very rare feature on these. I've seen used ones sell on eBay for several $100s. When I saw the clock, I thought that that was a really cool feature in the car. This car was not inexpensive for an American when it was new. Original carpet, could use to be replaced. We cleaned the car up as best we could. You really couldn't go too near it when I got it. It was rather dirty, but it cleaned up really nice. Again, a 10-footer. Starts up, runs good, drives good, stops good. But again, you're going to want to tinker with this car. The clutch is a little high, so I'm thinking the clutch is probably not long for the world. And the convertible top could use to be replaced. The rear window is actually non-existent. So I have some pictures of the top up that I can send anybody that's interested. But just know that that top should be replaced. Or just keep the car for nice days like today. It's actually early December here in Massachusetts, and it's in the mid-50s, so I'm really taking advantage of this. And there again, once again, just a quick walk around. Really nice little car. Starts up and runs nice. Drives well. Sounds good. I'll start it here for you in a second. So, in typical Orphan Car Garage fashion, I sell everything according to everybody. Way too cheap. So, I'm offering this car here today for $3,900. Where are you going to buy a 1960s convertible for less than $4,000 that you could drive home? Well, I'll say that if you live locally. Probably wouldn't suggest driving this cross country. It's just been sitting for too long. We did get it running well, but again, you're going to want to tinker with this car. I'm going to get in it and start it up for you so you can see how well it does run. Here's the interior. It's original, but you know, obviously well used. The door panel on this side is actually very nice. There she goes. She stopped. So you've got a really cool twin shift here with a 3-speed, very close shifting 3-speed with an overdrive in and out. If you didn't want to deal with the 3-speed, I guess you could just, the overdrive lever, you could just drive it as a regular 3-speed. So here it is, it's running very well. It starts up and runs very well. I'll open the hood for you real quick. Sorry about that. Has the overhead valve, straight 6 in it, very good engine for Rambler. It runs very well, as you can hear. We're going to change the oil. I haven't yet, but I am going to do that before the next owner. It has a recent battery. The tune-up parts don't look that old. Fuel filter. Some rather questionable wiring up there on the firewall that you might want to look to. The gentleman that I bought the car from told me that was because he was trying to get the gas gauge to work. The gas gauge does not work on this vehicle, and he did his own wiring job to get the gas gauge to work. I say the wiring looks questionable. But there again, it's a running driving car. That's just some condensation because it's a little cool out. The car does not smoke. That's just condensation from the exhaust. It's been sitting inside. So there you have it. $3,900, 1963 Rambler American convertible 440. You'll be the only one at the cruise night with it. Put your kids in the back seat, take them for ice cream. Your wife won't kill you because you drained the bank account. You'll have a lot of fun. But I just want you to be aware that this car is going to need a little bit of love, and I'm hoping the next guy or girl that buys it will understand that. That's it for us today. Until next time.